You know, it seems like for the last month or so, when we've gone out crate digging, we've kind of been on something of a Simon and Garfunkel kick, haven't we? You know, you find one album and then you end up looking for the others. I think most of these albums we found in the last summer, haven't we?
Yes.
All right.
Except for one.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought we found all of them during the summertime.
There's one in there that was I got a long time ago.
Ah, okay, so it wasn't what I thought it was. Anyway, we're going to start out with this album, Bookends. I think it has the hype sticker on it, and it includes a full-color poster, which is not in there.
Not in there.
Nope. It even has this original thing up on the top of it.
Yes.
Where it says the title of the album. I believe this is an original Columbia pressing, yes?
Yes. This is the original pressing. This is Robinson.
Yep. 1968 that came out. My father had that. Bridge Over Troubled Water. It's not an original pressing, it's a very early pressing of it, I believe. We were just looking at the labels.
Yes, we went through the labels beforehand. It's a standard.
Yep. Columbia label of that time. Bookends is the same way, by the way.
And of course, this has Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Right. There's this video series that I've been watching for years that I got Scottie into called The Oddity Archive, run by Ben Minot, who I give a lot of shouts out to him. I'm going to give another one out to him again. He actually did a video series about record ripoffs. And Simon and Garfunkel are apparently very big on that. Somebody did a version of Bridge Over Troubled Water where they actually messed up the lyric on that song. I Will Eve Your Eye, I believe it was something like that. And there's another Simon and Garfunkel story related to ripoff records I'll tell you a little bit later. So.
If I remember right, their version was Bridge Over Troubled Waters.
Right, and they misprinted it on the ripoff record.
I was just noticing Bye Bye Love.
Yep, I think the only cover on the album, if I recall. Especially since they were known as being songwriters.
This was my original one that I had.
So you got this in 81-ish?
Yeah, I won it from a radio station.
Oh, yeah, radio station Collins. No, I never won anything on those.
I do.
I'm glad
Quite
you did.
often.
Now, this is not on Columbia. This is on a totally different label.
Unfortunately, the kitty cat had fun.
Oh, yeah, a couple of the albums that, you know, in the collection have been gnawed by Cat. This was originally aired on PBS in September of 81.
Yep, September 19th.
Yep, this album actually just had its 36th anniversary, people.
Oh,
It's on the
Warner Brothers.
standard 80s Warner Brothers label. Now, this is not a Simon and Garfunkel album per se, but it's a soundtrack that features a lot of their music. We all know this film, Mrs. Robinson, Dustin Hoffman, The Graduate.
I'm not trying to seduce you.
Yep. Okay, yep, this has got Sound of Silence, Mrs. Robinson, you know.
Scarborough
Fair. Yeah, there's another record ripoff of that. Somebody who tried to make I'm sure you've all heard of these record ripoffs. You know, they were prevalent in the 70s. People making these low-budget greatest hits collections, trying to pass them off as the real thing. The person who did that with Scarborough Fair decided that it would be very artistic to put a bunch of crying Betsy Wetsy dolls in the background for absolutely no reason whatever, and it's hilarious. It's actually, if you can find it in an archive page somewhere, look for it. It's a riot. But this is, of course, a great soundtrack. Again, something
different version of Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah, there was a reprise on that. Simon and Garfunkel greatest hits. You know, we were talking about people who write letters and put all kinds of pen stuff all over records.
Yes, I wish people wouldn't do it.
I don't know why they do it. Just maybe a weird cataloging thing. Yeah, this is a very 1975 looking Simon and Garfunkel. Kind of My Little Town-ish. I think that's probably when this came out. Was it mid-70s? 72, yeah. It had that was a couple years after they kind of broke up, so. This is not a hard album to find at all. And here we are, Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme. This is from 1967, I believe. I believe it's their third album.
And Scarborough Fair again.
And this also has the 59th Street Bridge song, Feeling Groovy, a song that apparently Paul Simon kind of regrets writing. It was made famous also by Harper's Bazaar, did a cover of that. The Sounds of Silence, you know, we all know that, and I Am a Rock. This is their second album. You know, this was part of the big folk rock boom. Now this is the first pressing probably, or at least close to it.
Oh, this looks like it was first pressing.
Right. But not their first album, though. My dad actually saw them somewhere between that album and this one, which is actually their first. And this is not a first pressing. We just looked at the label. This is
definitely not first.
Probably a 70s or 80s pressing. I'd say probably 70s or 80s at least. Maybe 70s. This is their first album. There's usually
modern Columbia label.
Yeah, it's probably a 70s pressing. But it's this album was recorded in 1964 originally, and it has the original acoustic version of The Sound of Silence on it. So you know, that's it. And you can see that they're just kids. I mean, I actually passed up a first pressing of this at Dr. Records once a little while ago. But anyway, yeah. So we're gonna do a little
curious what this
price tag removal to see something
here.
It's a little thing underneath it. I don't know what it is. It's like a little...
It's got a hologram.
It's got a hologram?
Definitely not an original.
No, albums do not have holograms if they're from the 1964 like that. They have different things, so... I'm sure there are people who grade records who know more about these little things than I do, but if you can tell me, that's great. But yeah, you ended up having all the Simon and Garfunkel albums on vinyl, including tidbits like the greatest hits, the Graduate soundtrack, and the only I believe you had for a long time, the Central Park concert. So there we are, Simon and Garfunkel. And until next time, enjoy your music. Peace, everyone.